radio. Cuando hablas de radio es como que creo que todos es como de dónde naces.
They weren't doing it on purpose, but they dropped me off. Okay, Miguel. Bye.
The range. How do you decide the range?
And so the direct.
A veces yo corría al cerco y nos daba fresa.
Margaret, thank you for joining us.
I'm delighted.
Thank you. And so tell me about your organization.
Well, the organization is called Teatro de las Americas, and it's a community theater. And it started about 91. That year, Santa Paula Theater Center, which is a great theater, Dana Elcar was the director of that theater, and he decided, well, we'll do a play one night in English, one night in Spanish, because Santa Paula is a very heavily Latino town. So the crew and cast that did the Spanish language version of Doll's House, Casa de Muñecas in Spanish, got together after it was over and said, well, we want to keep doing this. And Dana didn't like the play that we recommended, so we said, well, we'll do it anyway. And the play that we wanted to stage was called Rosa de dos Aromas. And it's by Emilio Carballido, who was the playwright laureate of Mexico in those days. He was an awesome playwright. He mentored a lot of younger people. And so we staged it, where did we stage it? I don't even remember. Oh, we rented the theater at the Camarillo Airport for the first two plays that we did back in 91, 92.
Okay.
And the second play was by Garcia Lorca, who you seem to recognize, and it was Bodas de Sangre, Blood Wedding, a wonderful play, huge cast. So the Carballido play was a two-person cast, and then we went to this huge cast. We even got Mati Sanchez from Oxnard College Ballet Folklorico, and she had some of her students come and dance for the wedding scene. It was just a great... We weren't able to get back into Camarillo Airport, the old church, because the Camarillo Community Theater booked it for the whole year. So then we were homeless. We went to what is called the Forum, which is a classroom that has a stage over at Oxnard College. We did La Importancia de Llamarse Ernesto. It was a translation into Spanish of the importance of being earnest. And it was set not in London, but in Mexico City. And the play translated very well into the attitudes of Mexico City. So there used to be a theater here in Ventura called Plaza Players. It's been gone for a long time. And Michael Minas was the director of that theater. And he came to see us at Oxnard College. And he said, well, if you come and do your plays at my theater, and he invited us. At that point, we were willing to do or able to do 2 plays a year, in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
So we were at Plaza Players for a couple of years, and Michael was just an awesome host. Michael Minas, for the old-timers, he was a wonderful theater person. He did great stuff. That theater, Michael passed, and I think that theater kind of shut down.
Okay.
And then we were invited by Judy Heiliger, who was one of the founding directors of the Elite Theater, which used to be in the basement of one of the houses at Heritage Square in Oxnard. And we produced, and she said, oh, I'll have a break, you know. So we played there for a few years, and then we had to leave because they were getting busier with what they were doing. And we were homeless for about 4 or 5 years and bought a trailer and just went all over the place. It was tough times. The mission, and then, about 5 years ago, we went into what was the Wagon Wheel. There was a former dance studio, and we were in there for a couple of 3 years, I don't remember. And then Oxnard College, Dr. Duran, who was the president at the time, invited us to go, and we've been in the Oxnard College Black Box Theater now for 4 years. It's an awesome venue. It's got great lighting. Over the years, we grew from 2 plays a year to now we're doing 4 plays a year.
Okay.
And we're just, our mission is to present plays originally written in Spanish, which are not well known in this country. And we produce them in Spanish, and we run English language super titles, so like at the opera, so people can follow it.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years ago, the board decided once a year we'll do something in English.
Okay.
And generally it's a translation of something that was originally written in Spanish.
Okay.
So what's happened is that we have begun to notice that there are some really great Latino playwrights in this country, U.S. Latinos, who write in English, interestingly, or sometimes in both languages. And I think the first U.S. Latino we staged was Locuras in Wichita, which translated to Wild in Wichita. And it had been written in English originally. Someone had translated it into Spanish, and we presented it in Spanish.
Beautiful.
Great play.
Yeah.
And so last year we did Esperanza Rising in English, mostly. And that play is based on a book that's read in 5th grade, and the kids love it. So we had lots of kids coming to see that play.
Oh, my friend was the lead.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who's your friend?
Rafaela.
Oh, Rafaela.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
Rafaela.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. She started with us when she was 15. We did a children's summer workshop.
Oh, okay.
And she was the mother of the 3 little pigs. She has stayed with us. We staged about 3 or 4 years ago, La Zapatera Prodigiosa, the prodigious shoemaker's wife, by Garcia Lorca, at the college. And she happened to be going to Oxnard College at the time, and she walked by while we were doing the auditions, and the director of that show, Pat Cassiano, hey, come here, come here. And she did the shoemaker's wife. And it turns out that Rafaela sings very, very nicely. So she's been on stage with us several times since then. In fact, last summer we did Don Perlimplín, El amor de Don Perlimplín con Belisa en el jardín, another Garcia Lorca. It's about this old guy, and his maid is saying, you got to get married. I'm not going to be around here to take care of you forever. And so he woos the neighboring girl, and Rafaela did that, and it was lovely. So she sang, and it was very, very nice. That was a great play. So I'm getting kind of tangled in the history.
Yeah, that's okay. I was going to ask a question. Let's bring it back a little bit. So you do four plays a year.
Right now, we're doing 4 a year.
Tell me what it looks like to put one on from you know,
beginning to end. Well, first of all,
picking the story.
You choose the play, and I became the director about 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
I'd had a prior director who left to take another job, and so I sort of inherited this job. And I'm not trained in theater. I want to make that very clear. When I worked, I don't work anymore.
So what did you do before?
I was a psychologist
Okay.
with the behavioral health department, and so
I like to think of them as closely related.
they are actually. So what was your question again?
Walk us through.
Oh,
what
through the
it's like
process.
to-
Okay,
to
so
put one on.
I have some people that I call us the production committee, and we kind of work together to find plays, choose plays.
Okay.
And over the years, we have a great library. We don't even need it anymore because so much is online. And so we find plays, and we read, and we choose. So right now, we are doing this play, Stand and Deliver, in English, because somebody brought it up and said, you know, that's a great play, and so we're doing that right now. Okay, so the play is chosen, the dates are set, and about 8 weeks before opening, we do a casting call, and people come to the casting note to the time, and they try out, and usually they come cold. We give them, here, read this, and sometimes it's a monologue, sometimes it's a dialogue, and after you read it, you could say, okay, why don't you read it again, but this time pretend you're mad, or angry, or sad, and so you give people direction to see how they take that. So we choose the players from those who come to the audition. Now, sometimes we call on people and say, you know, we'd like for you to do this, like Rafaela, for example, who's been with us before, and
you know her range, you know her
we know
talent.
her range and her talent, yes. We take pride in usually having first-time people on stage. So the current play has a cast of about 18 people, and a fair number of them have never been on stage before.
Wow. So when you put the casting call, where do you put it out to if you're getting first-timers?
What we've been doing is we have an e-blasting thing, so we e-blast it. We have a Facebook, which I think the Facebook is now more followed than the e-blast.
Yeah.
And then since we're at Oxnard College, we post it on the bulletin boards, the student bulletin boards around the college. We really would like for the college students to be involved with us. And sometimes they really did come to this casting, and we have several people in the play who are college students. And then we also have college students up in the control booth, and they're doing great. We've found them mostly in the television and film department that they have at Oxnard College.
Yes, I was gonna kind of get to that later.
Okay, so well, we choose a director, and the director actually starts working well before casting in her or his mind, you know, figuring out how they're going to do it and how they're going to build their set and so forth. And so the director chooses the actors, and then they start reading together, and then they start blocking, which is, okay, here's the way the set is going to be. Like the one we did in March was Orinoco, and it's a boat. And we have been very lucky to find people who really are talented. And we have a set and light, it's called sonographer, a person who does both the set and the lights. She's wonderful. Holly Sherman, who's retired from doing lights all her life. And so she designed a set so you had this boat on stage. It was a huge boat. And, or sometimes the set is just 2 or 3 chairs and nothing much. So we've gone back and forth, you know. So the director and the sonographer figure out how they're going to do it. The director runs rehearsals 3 or 4, maybe sometimes 5 times a week. I know, and not everybody comes every time because she might be working on this scene, which has only certain people in it. And about 2 weeks before the play, we do what's called tech. Build the set the lights, and people start practicing on what's going to be the set.
What they call a dress rehearsal.
No, the dress rehearsal comes toward the end. Tech is like going up and focusing the lights and putting them in.
All right, so there's that phase before the dress rehearsal.
Yeah. Dress rehearsal is usually the night before opening night with us. And we usually have an audience. Martha Garza, who teaches at Oxnard College, usually brings her Spanish class, and especially if it's in Spanish, you know. So we have a great costumer. Her name is Becky Hull. Becky actually works at Ventura College as a counselor, and she does our costumes for us. And this play that we're doing right now, today's Friday, tonight, Becky had to do 73 costumes. It's like this long row of costumes.
And so where does that come from? Where?
Oh, she's got a lot of stuff at her home, and then usually thrift stores. You know, we had to find some Pendleton type of shirts for the 2 or 3 cholos that are in this play.
Right.
So we have a costumer, we have a scenographer, we have a set builder, Bob the set builder, who builds sets for several of the community theaters around, Bob Decker, who used to teach drama at Oxnard College. He's retired. There are a lot of retired people who are pretty active, but we have a lot of younger people as well. But the younger people have to go to work or go to school, so.
Yeah, we have to multitask.
Yeah,
We're
right.
getting there. But that's beautiful. So it's a blend of generations, and you're passing on the information.
Yes, yes.
And get everybody,
Yeah,
getting
I'm
everyone
looking for
involved.
somebody to replace me.
Oh no!
But it doesn't pay. That's the problem. It's a
Okay,
volunteer
okay.
job, so.
Well, I heard that the Teatro de las Americas wouldn't be what it is if you weren't in it.
Well,
So
I
don't
they
know
keep
that anyone.
telling me that.
They don't. I don't think anybody wants you to leave. I think we want you to stay.
Well, that's true, but you know, you have to think about your replacement.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to ask you about the director.
We've had several directors. One of the ones that sort of grew up with us was Robert Sanchez. And a year ago, he was accepted into a MFA program at the University of Hawaii in theater direction. So Robert's over there. In the meantime, James Donlin and Alina Senyal came into our orbit. Alina teaches theater and dancing and song in the Oxnard schools through the Ventura County Arts Council. It's like arts in the classroom.
Yes.
And her husband is James Donlin, who's a member of this Donlin family that was one of the farming families, but he didn't go into that. He went into theater, and he has just recently retired from the Ashland Shakespeare Theater. So we have these 2 people who are very experienced, outstanding, and Alina is directing this play. And Stand and Deliver, and doing a great job. Alina speaks Spanish. She's Cuban, so no
okay.
problem. James is intent on learning Spanish, and he manages very well in Spanish. He directed the last play we did, Orinoco, the two women on the boat.
Yes. So that's my other friend that's in it, Rosie.
Rosie, you're a friend of Rosie's.
And I know Robert, so I know
You
all
know
of
these
them.
people.
I do.
All right.
I had a question. So Orinoco, it's an adult geared play,
Yeah,
adult
yeah.
theme. So the range, how do you decide the range in the plays you're going to put on for the year, for the season?
Well, it's a process where, you know, we read, we look for. I'm trying to do a family-friendly play once in a while. And I was looking to do something in mid-October to November, but I'm not sure that I'll have it for that period. It may be next February we do a family-friendly play.
Okay.
And Dramatic Publishing Company, which publishes plays here in this country, recently put out a book, and I bought it immediately, and it was Theater for Young Audiences, Latino Plays. They're all written in English because they're written by U.S. Latinos. And I was joking the other day. I said, well, the United States is now a Latino country, but they just speak English. That's what can I say?
Someone has told me that it looks like that's the way that it's going. It's going to be all Latinos, we eat beans, we dress with the culture, but we speak English.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
In fact, we did a theater workshop for children last summer, and we had 38 kids that came from El Centrito. Are you familiar with
Yes,
El Centrito?
yes.
It's a family services organization.
I live down the street from it. I
All
live in
right.
Colon,
Well,
yes.
we did it down at the Oxnard Performing Arts Center, at
on
the city
Hobson.
on Hobson, and they would walk over and they would do this workshop. And the kids are saying, "Are you going to do it again?" So we're going to do it again.
That was my next question.
Yeah, we're going to do it again.
Okay, good.
And it was interesting that these kids are more English speaking.
Yes.
Several years ago, we did a workshop, a children's workshop, and I was working with one of the girls. She was a junior high school student, and her Spanish was very poor. And so I was coaching her, and it was back in the days when you had these little tape recorders. So I gave her one, and then I went over to her house, and we're sitting on the back stoop, and I say to her mother, ¿Por qué no le ayuda a usted, señora? Because she didn't speak English. And she says, no me habla, nomás habla inglés, no me habla. So at the end of the workshop, I asked the parents to do a written, tell me what this meant to you. And I almost cry every time I think about this. The mother wrote, ahora sí me habla, en español.
That's beautiful.
And I thought it was wonderful because, as a psychologist, there was a lot of research back in the 80s about the dysfunction in families where the parents spoke one language and the children spoke another, and they didn't speak with each other. It's very, very sad.
Exactly.
And so one of the, one of our points of pride for us is bilingualism. We had two missions, so to speak. One was to make theater written in Latin America available here in Spanish. And the other was to really encourage bilinguality. And most of our actors are quite proficient in both languages. Occasionally we get actors whose English isn't really, they're kind of like more recently arrived.
Okay.
And in fact, I ran into somebody when I was at a restaurant this morning for breakfast, and he had been on stage with us, and his English is coming along, but he was somebody who had come to this country as a young adult. So honoring the reality and the advantages of being bilingual is one of our aims. And then the other aim is to make an absolutely wonderful world of theater available.
And merge the two. And I feel like we are in this place where we need to encourage it more to be bilingual.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And the more activities, the more arts that we have that uses it, that makes it okay for it, then I feel that the parents will go, well, hey, wait a minute.
Yes, I agree
speak.
with you, yes.
One thing that catches my attention is the kind of flip side of being bilingual, where like you're saying, the kids come to the parents, they only speak English to the parents, and the parents only speak Spanish to them. They know what they're saying, but then they don't themselves, say, hey, let's make sure we both know the languages. And I love your theater company because it helps to bring something for everybody.
I joke around about it. Robert Sanchez, he's your friend, and he came to us about 10, 12 years ago. And his Spanish is rusty. I mean, and I tell him, I said, we rehabilitated you.
And that's funny because I only speak in English to him.
Yes, well, I know, I grew up with, we're two of us, my brother and myself, we always spoke English to each other. And we spoke English with my father and Spanish with my mother. It was a funny situation. My father was fully bilingual, bicultural. He was one of the most fully bilingual, bicultural people I have ever known. We'd cross the border to Mexico to go visit the grandparents, and all of a sudden he was a Mexican.
And I think that that's something we have to embrace.
Yes, I agree.
And I feel that the work that you do, the plays that you bring, the fact that you put on writers that are Latino but they write in English, and you bring people with pieces from Mexico in Spanish, that's very important to help us be okay with that. We're all in the same geography, essentially. What's so wrong with being able to do that? And I feel we've kind of come to a place where we feel we can't. We feel we have to be one or the other.
Oh, no. And not just Mexico, but Argentina and Venezuela
All Americas,
and even Spain.
Yes, that's what
Garcia
that's
Lorca.
where we come from, exactly.
Yes.
Mexico is just this blend
Yes,
altogether,
I
right? It was a blend before America was, I feel.
I think so.
We definitely have that. One thing I wanted to touch on before we run out of time, you said you came into theater and you inherited the position. What
Yes.
struggles have you come through with that, being a female, being in such a situation of power and wanting to run this?
No, no troubles at all. The only trouble really is the financial side of it, having enough money to pay Becky for all the money she puts into the costuming, paying the college. The college doesn't charge us rent, but we do have to pay for the security and the janitorial, and so that can be pretty pricey. So no, I have not had any, what's the word I'm looking for? No power struggles.
Okay.
Everybody is real cooperative.
That's good, and it's important. You need that in a community. What is in the future of Teatro de las Américas?
Well, I would love to come downtown to Oxnard. I happen to be on the Cultural Arts Citizen Advisory Group for the city of Oxnard, and there is a focus right now to make the downtown area into an arts hub. And I'd love to have a theater downtown. One time we looked at the possibility of taking a site on A Street that had been a store, but it's impossible because they don't have the sprinklers. It's a huge cost to put sprinklers into an older building. But for a performance venue, you have to have the sprinklers if you're going to have more than 50 people.
Oh, okay, for
so-
an emergency.
Well, yeah. You know,
Okay, I understand. And the last question I wanted to end our beautiful conversation with is, what can we do to support you? What can the community do to support you?
Come. The biggest support is to have the house full. And, you know, it has varied. One Sunday, we were doing a children's version of Don Quixote, and 2 people came, a mother and her little boy.
Okay.
And the show went on.
Yeah.
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 And so the thing that is the most important is to fill the house. And theaters everywhere have a hard time drawing audience because it's easier to stay at home and watch TV or to go to the soccer game or the baseball game. And even then, you know, sometimes people would rather see it on TV.
True.
So come, be an audience
Be
member.
there for you.
Yes.
I sometimes film concerts and the orchestras with children who showcase their talents. And the director, every time we have a show, he says to the audience right before, he says, there's nothing wrong with you clapping to these performances after the show as if you were at a baseball game, a basketball game. Like, show them, yeah? Show them your enthusiasm. Show them they're just as amazing.
Yeah.
And give them that energy.
Sometimes I do the welcoming speech, and I tell the audience, you are the ones that give energy to the actors. You're engaging in your attention and your emotions with us, the actors. And so you have audiences that are very alive, and it just invigorates the actors. And then you have audiences that are kind of blah or dead. And I don't know, you never know what you're going to get. But mostly, our audiences are alive.
Yeah, and we need to come so that way, in case there's a little dipping in the energy, somebody else can feel it, yeah?
Yeah, I tell Becky Ho, I said, I always love when you're in the audience because she just laughs with such vigor and joy.
They wonder, do you pay her for that?
No, not at all.
No.
She just enjoys it.
And it's something that we all have to, like you said, get out of our comfort zone and go. And go.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation.
Thank you for inviting me.
For more information on our guests, please visit their website and their social media pages. Para más información, visite la página web y las redes sociales de nuestros invitados.